If he'd kissed her in this moment, I would have stopped watching the show. I said what I said. Hi guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to another video here on my channel. Happy New Year! It's January 1st! Yes, I've still got the Halloween mug. It's spooky all year in this house, but my Christmas tree is also still up, so there's balance here. I am like the tiniest bit under the weather. I think that it's just because we had some really hot weather during Christmas, and then very quickly the temperature just dropped and now we're back in the 30s. So I think my body's just trying to like acclimate to that. Fingers crossed. I do not want to get sick right now. Terrible timing. But today we are talking about the end of Once Upon a Time season 1. I know. Did you guys think I was just never gonna finish it? I kind of did. I kind of did feel that way, but that's not what's gonna happen here. If I start a show, I'm gonna finish a show, even if I have to take a little bit of a break from it. I just want to say a quick thank you to everybody that subscribed and supported me in 2023. You guys are the best. The channel really did grow quite quickly. We're still not quite at 1,000, but we're getting there every day. And I'm really, really thankful for all of you that are here. You guys are so sweet down below in the comments. I love talking to you each week. It's just a really good community that we're building. And so I think I'm okay with the fact that it's happening kind of slower than I thought it would, because the people that are sticking around are so kind and it's so much fun to talk to you guys. So I'm like, if we just have to keep collecting people as we go along slowly, that's fine. That being said, if you aren't subscribed already, don't forget to do that now just so you don't miss any updates in these series. Currently right now, I'm working on The Vampire Diaries, Once Upon a Time. I'm still working on Good Omens. We've got a Throne of Glass recap happening right now. There's a lot on this channel, so you don't want to miss the updates. But let's get into today's unhinged bedtime story. Okay, so we open with a 1 week ago flashback. Remember how Rumple and Regina were working together to hurt Mary Margaret? Turns out Rumple was also working with Mary Margaret to let her get out of the cell and run away and all of that. So he's double timing everybody, and everybody always believes him because he always honors his agreements. So we get a flashback to young Regina riding a horse through a training field. Her dad is watching her. Her mom comes. She's an even bigger bitch than Regina. Like, she is so mean and nasty. She's mean to Regina, she's mean to the stable hand that's helping her, and then when Regina talks back, she uses magic on her to get her to like be quiet and behave. So Regina goes running off all upset straight to the stable guy, whose name is Daniel. Oops, surprise, they're in love, they start kissing. David is trying to see Mary Margaret, but she doesn't want anything to do with him, and Emma has to keep him away. And then Regina goes to see Mary Margaret to give her a chance to confess so they can save the town from the hassle of doing a trial. While Regina and Daniel in the flashback are talking about how impossible their romance is, but they love each other so much and they want to be together, a little girl comes flying by on a horse, screaming bloody murder. Regina races off to save her. It's little girl Snow White. Gold wants to use Mary Margaret's sweet, innocent little school teacher personality to her advantage, so he convinces her to talk to the DA early, but then it goes really badly. Regina's also there and she's kind of egging everything on, and Mary Margaret ends up admitting on record that, yeah, of course she wanted Catherine gone because she was in love with David, but it's taken out of context. Like, yes, she did want that. No, she would not kill her. So back in the flashbacks, Regina and her parents get a visit from the king because Regina saved his daughter on the horse. He bows to her, which is a huge deal. He says like he's so thankful for her and so happy to meet her because she saved the most important person in his life, because remember, his original queen is dead. And then he proposes to Regina. Regina can't speak, okay? There's a big age gap here. And also he's the king, so she's kind of afraid to say no. So what does her mom do? She steps in and accepts the proposal. So Regina goes running off straight to Daniel and tells him that she doesn't want to be queen and she just wants to run away with him and get married, and like they'll live, you know, in the slums. She doesn't care. He's like, I don't want you to give up your chance to be queen. This is everything, you know, your family's ever wanted for you. This is more important. You could make a difference. She's like, no, I want to be with you. And he agrees. But then Snow is there. and she sees them kissing, and she's upset because she was told that Regina's gonna marry her dad, which must mean that Regina and her dad are in love. Because remember, she's a little girl. Regina very kindly explains to Snow what's going on. And she's like, look, I don't love your dad, okay? I love Daniel. This is who I want to be with. But Snow is so little. She's like, what do you mean you don't love my dad? Why not? Why don't you want to be my mom? I want you to be my mom. Slowly, though, when it's pitched to her as more like true love fairy tale stuff, Snow starts to get it. And so Snow is like, okay, yes, if you love Daniel, you should be with him. That's who you should marry. Regina reminds her, you cannot tell my mom, okay? My mom will stop us from running away together. You have to keep this a secret. And Snow's like, I got you, girl. I will never tell a soul. August catches Emma reading in the storybook, and then he takes her out to the toll bridge to kind of further the investigation. While they're out there together, he gets a weird pain in his leg and kind of like stumbles and clutches at it. And she's like, whoa, bro, what's going on with you? And he's like, oh, it's just shin splints. It's not. He's lying. It's so much worse than shin splints. But then Emma finds the broken shard of a shovel where the box that had Catherine's heart was buried. So Henry, being a clever little menace, helps August and Emma break into his garage so that they can look for the shovel, and sure enough, they find it. So in the flashback, Regina's mom goes to Snow, and she says that she can tell that Regina is unhappy, and she's so sad that something is bothering her daughter, and all she wants is for her and Regina to be close and for nothing to ever bring them apart. And she just wants Regina to be happy, and she would do anything for Regina to be happy. And Snow, whose mother just died, and she's a child, is easily manipulated and tricked. So she's like, oh my God, I know exactly what would make Regina happy, and she gives up the secret about Daniel. Emma goes back to Regina with a search warrant to go get that damn broken shovel, but when they get in the garage, of course it's gone. So Emma goes straight to August, and she's like, dude, you told. I know you had to tell because you're the only other one that knows. He swears up and down, though, that he's not a liar. Regina goes straight to Mary Margaret, and she's like, I am finally gonna get rid of you. You're being sent out of Storybrooke for trial. This is it. Justice is finally being served. Mary Margaret obviously doesn't understand what's going on because she doesn't have any memories of the past the way that Regina does. So she just starts sobbing because it's like this crazy psycho mayor hates her and is out to get her, and she has no idea what she did wrong. She tells her that she's sorry and that she promises she didn't kill Catherine, and Regina's like, oh, I know you didn't kill her. I don't accept your apology, and you deserve everything you're about to get. In a flashback, again, Regina is finally running away with Daniel, and then her mom shows up and stops them. They have this moment where she's like, okay, so this is what you really want to do? Like, are you sure? And Regina's like, yes, all I want is to be with Daniel. This is what will make me happy. Please let me go with him. So she agrees. She's like, okay, if this is really what you want, who am I to stop you? She takes Daniel to the side and tells him that if he's going to be a part of the family and if he's going to start a new family with Regina, he needs to remember that the most important thing is to always do what's best for your children. And he's like, I understand, because that's what you're doing now. And she's like, yes, it is. And then she rips his heart from his chest and crushes it before Regina can even say goodbye to him. We cut abruptly, still in the flashback, to Regina now reluctantly getting ready and putting on her white wedding gown to marry the king. Snow is helping her, thinking that she's getting ready to marry Daniel. Regina is absolutely horrified to realize that Snow is the one that told her mom about Daniel. It's so hard for me because I know Snow as a child, and I keep telling you guys Snow as a child because she is so deeply annoying. This actress is so good at being Snow White, but oh my God, I just want to throttle her every time she's on the screen. This is where Regina starts to tip into like anger, evil queen vibes, okay? So she's angry with Snow, like just livid with her, but she lies and says that she's marrying Snow's dad because she decided it was more important for them to be a family, and she's so excited to be Snow's mother. And then she realizes that her mom planned everything, okay? So when Snow's horse got spooked in the field that day, that was the mom making sure that they would meet each other. And Regina says that she wishes wishes she just let Snow die. In the present, we see Regina holding the wedding band from Daniel, whispering to him that they finally did it and she's finally gonna get what she deserves. Emma's mad at Mr. Gold for not helping Mary Margaret the way he said he would, and he's like, girl, relax. There's still time for me to work a little magic. She's so angry she smashes a flower pot, the flowers she got from Sydney, and there's a bug in them, like a little listening device. She goes straight to August and tells him she's so sorry that she didn't believe him. But this is from Sydney, so clearly he was working behind her back the whole time. They're over near Granny's, like the diner. Ruby screams from the back alley. They go back there, and they find Catherine alive. August wakes up with horrible, horrible, terrible leg pain. He calls someone and says, it's taking too long. We need to accelerate the plan. Then he meets up with Henry. And he sends Henry into Mr. Gold's shop so he can distract him while August goes in the back and starts looking for something. Mr. Gold catches him and is like, what are you doing in here? August says, oh, I'm just looking for some maps. I'm sorry, I thought this entrance was the front door. And Gold's like, no. The shop is through those curtains. And he's super suspicious, but August plays it off really well. And he's like, oh, my bad. I'll go out in the front, no problem. Emma goes to see Catherine at the hospital, and all Catherine can remember is being in the car accident and then waking up in somebody's basement and then waking up in a field on the edge of town and walking back in. So turns out someone faked the DNA results on the heart so that they would think she was dead when she isn't. Regina goes to Gold, so confused and upset on why he double-crossed her and didn't make Catherine disappear. And he goes, well, I did. You never said Catherine had to die. You just said to get rid of her, so kidnapping seemed like an okay answer. It's not his fault Catherine managed to escape and come back. So yeah, Mr. Gold planned it all because he wants to get Regina in trouble with the town. And she's like, why would you do that? We've been working together the whole time. You're the one that made the curse. We get a flashback to Bay back in the village that he lived in with Rumple. He gets hurt by a passing carriage and the guy realizes that it's Balefire and he's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Please don't tell your dad. I didn't mean to do it. Of course, Rumple comes over and sees that Bay has like a little scratch on his leg, okay? Everybody's apologizing. Bay swears up and down that he's okay. Rumple is like, oh, well, it'll never happen again and I'm gonna make sure of it. He turns the carriage guy into a snail and then he steps on him. He is truly something else. David goes to see Catherine at the hospital, and as he leans over to kiss her on the forehead, she wakes up and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I was just trying to kiss you on the forehead. I thought it would be sweet. And she's like, okay, why are you here? He apologizes about lying to her and cheating on her and everything else that he put her through. And she's like, David, it's really okay, all right? What we had, it wasn't good. We were not meant to be together, and that's all right. I'm really glad she feels that way, even not uncursed, because like, girl, you were cheating on Snow. He was already married. This whole marriage with you was fake. He tells her that she's amazing and he's like, can I give you that forehead kiss now? And she's like, knock yourself out. And then he does it and it's sweet. So they're at least gonna have like a cordial friendship relationship moving forward, which is nice because this is bad all around for everybody. All of the main homies throw a party for Mary Margaret at her house to celebrate that she's back home and out of jail. Henry talks to August to see if August got what he needed from Mr. Gold, but August is like, no, not yet. I'm gonna have to try again. David shows up to see Mary Margaret, but she doesn't want to see him, so Emma has to send David away and is like, why don't you walk Henry home for me? Thank you, goodbye, leave. Then Emma goes to Gold and is like, I know damn well you are the one who kidnapped Catherine. And he's like, am I? Do you have any proof? I don't think you do. Who's August? Give me more information on him. But all Emma knows is that he's a traveling writer that has come to town on a motorcycle and he's kind of hot. We get more flashbacks of Bay and Rumple in the forest. Rumple wants to heal the cut on Bay's leg with magic, but Bay is like, no, absolutely not. Do it the old-fashioned way. And he makes him like put a healing ointment on it and wrap it up with bandages. Bay says that Rumple is mean now and he's always hurting people, and the power has like made him this like awful dark thing that he doesn't even know who he is anymore. Rumple is like, oh, I'm evil and dark now? I'm sorry, but who walked onto the battlefield and stopped the ogre's war, okay? I brought all those children home and you think I'm the bad guy? The real problem though is that the magic itself is starting to corrupt Rumple. So it's not so much that like he's power hungry, it's that he wants more power constantly. Like it's never enough. He's always searching to get stronger and stronger. Bae is like, if I find a way to send us somewhere where there is no magic, meaning you won't need it to keep me safe, can we go there, please? And Rumple is like, if you can figure that out, yes. And they shake on it, so it's a deal. In the present, Rumple breaks into August's hotel room and he finds a wooden dog, like a carved wooden dog, and then a drawing of the Dark One dagger with Rumpelstiltskin's name on it. Emma confronts Sydney about the bug that he planted in her office. He swears up and down he didn't do it, but she's like, dude, yes you did, and I have proof. You're in a lot of trouble. It also comes out here that he's in love with Regina, so Emma's like, okay, so if that's why you did it, that's fine, but still, you did it, so you need to think about telling on her, because otherwise you're going down for this. In a flashback with Bae, we see a friend with him. All the children are really scared of his dad, but this one is like a girl and she's talking to him. She tells him that she's heard tales of a power that's even stronger than the Dark One. So maybe that power could stop his dad and help Bae. And then she runs away when Rumple walks up because she doesn't want to see him. And for good reason. It turns out that Rumple killed the maid because earlier when him and Bae were making the deal together, they talked about the knife a little bit, and that's like the only way that Rumple can be stopped is like if somebody kills him with the dagger, then they get the power. And Bae is like, Dad, the maid was mute. How was she gonna tell anybody? And Rumple's like, even if she can't talk, she could draw a picture. He's lost it. Gold sees Mother Superior talking to August, and he goes straight up to her and he's like, I want to know what you were just talking about. And she's like, I don't have to tell you that. That's not how the world works. And he goes, oh, and I don't have to double your rent. So she tells him, she says that August came to town to find his dad, and he did find him, but he hasn't talked to him yet because they left on very bad terms, and he's worried that his dad won't want to talk to him. Gold is like, oh my God, August is Balefire, and he's come here to kill me because he hates me for what I did. Flashback Bae goes out into the woods and calls out that scary power's name. Turns out it's the Blue Fairy. She flitters down and is like, what can I do for you, little one? She says that she can't turn Rumple back into the guy he was before he took the power, but she can send them away to a world where there's no magic. He agrees, and she tells him that Bae is the only thing that keeps Rumple human. So that little shred of warmth in his heart is only for Balefire, that's it. She gives him a magic bean and says that it will open a portal and take them away. David is still trying to talk to Mary Margaret, even though she is actively avoiding him. He apologizes for not believing her, and he reminds her that the setup was really convincing, and he's human and he fell for it and he's so sorry. But she says that even though she believes him, they can't be together because it's like something in the universe doesn't want them to work out, and there's just like poison being poured between them constantly. He says that he loves her, and she's like, I know. That's what makes this so sad. Bae goes to Rumple and tells him about the bean. Rumple is terrified of being powerless, but he promised and made a deal, so he can't go back on it, so he knows he's got to uphold it. In the present, Mr. Gold goes to see Archie, and Archie's like, are you here for the rent? And Gold's like, why does everybody say that? And Archie's like, because that's the only reason why you ever talk to any of us. I'm sorry, do you want to sit down and talk? And Gold's like, yeah, maybe I do. So they go into the room and have therapy, which is a great step. Good for you, Mr. Gold. He tells Archie pretty much everything, that he has a son, that he's worried that the son is back in town. And he's like, he's not gonna wanna like reunite with me happily because I'm the one that needs forgiveness. I'm the one that messed up. He didn't do anything wrong. He won't tell him exactly what happened. He just says, I let him go, and I've spent my entire life since trying to fix it. And Archie's like, okay, so go tell him that. All you need to do is tell him exactly what you told me and he'll forgive you. So Rumple goes straight to August and is like, I know who you are and I know what you're looking for. And August turns around and goes, I guess all the lying can stop then, Papa, which is what Bae called Rumple. In the flashbacks, Bay takes Rumple to the woods, throws the bean down on the forest floor, a portal opens up. Bay goes to jump in, they're still holding hands. Rumple is panicking, okay? He's like, no, we're gonna get torn to shreds. That's not like a good thing. That magic is awful. We can't go through it. Bay is like, this is what we have to do, Papa. Please come with me. Rumple lets him go. Bay goes through the portal alone and disappears. The second that he's gone, Rumple starts freaking out and trying to like dig the hole and go down with him. But it doesn't work, dude. I don't know what you expected to happen. In the present, Rumple breaks down and sobs and says that he's so sorry. August gives him a hug and tells him that he forgives him. Rumple takes him to where he buried the Dark One dagger to keep it hidden from Regina. And he's like, okay, you take it, we're gonna destroy it. And he gives it over to August. But then August draws the knife on him and immediately is like, I command you, Dark One, I command you, trying to get it to work. But there's no magic in Storybrooke, you dumbass. What were you thinking? So Mr. Gold immediately knows that this isn't Bay, because the whole point in them coming over here was that there wasn't going to be any magic, and Bay would know that. So he's like, who are you? You're not my son. August says that he risked everything because he's dying and Emma isn't believing fast enough. So he's going to die from whatever is hurting him, and he needed help, and he thought Rumple was going to have magic, and Rumple's like, well, I don't. And I won't until Emma believes. So you need to try again. Back in the flashbacks, Rumple went after the blue fairy trying to figure out how to get to Bay. He knew that a curse would work, and even though she told him that making a curse like that would ruin the enchanted forest and destroy everything, he didn't care because all he's thinking about is getting his son back. Regina comes to see Emma with Sydney. He confesses to everything, so he's gonna go to prison and get in trouble for all the stuff with Catherine. Emma drags Regina out into the hallway and tells her that she knows she's crazy, and she's gonna do everything in her power to take the one thing that Regina seems to care about away from her. Henry. August puts new locks on the apartment door for Emma and Mary Margaret so that Regina can't keep breaking in, and Mary Margaret goes back to teaching. Henry calls Emma and they meet up together for breakfast. He shows her the storybook that he now has back, and he's like, there's an added story in here about Pinocchio. I don't know where it came from. We get a flashback of Pinocchio and Giuseppe as they're about to get eaten by the whale. Pinocchio insisted that Giuseppe take the life jacket because he's made of wood and he'll float, so he thought he would be fine. Giuseppe washes up on shore and he's alive, and he's like, Pinocchio, where are you? You wonderful boy, you saved my life. And then he sees Pinocchio lying face down in the water, dead. The blue fairy shows up, hearing Giuseppe's wish to save him, and says, I can do that for you. And then she turns Pinocchio into a real boy. The only problem is he has to remain truthful, brave, and unselfish, or he'll turn back into wood. Back in the present, August has the Pinocchio hat, so it's safe to say that we know who August is now. He calls Gold and says that he wants to meet to talk about Emma because there's a problem. Also, he's turning to wood. Regina goes to Mary Margaret and has the nerve to be like, I'm so sorry about the misunderstanding. Did you hear that Sydney's confessed to everything? I'm so glad that the correct person is going to get in trouble for all this. But Snow is like, except the right person isn't getting in trouble for this. But you know what, Regina? I forgive you, because you must be so miserable and so lonely to want to hurt everybody else so badly all the time. What's that like? Regina gets really annoyed and she's like, Henry, that's it. That's the last straw. I'm switching you out of Miss Margaret's class. And Henry is like, yeah, no, get wrecked, Mom. I'm not doing that. Also, you're the evil queen and I know it, and good will beat you. August comes to meet Gold to talk in the shop, and Giuseppe is there intentionally so that August and Giuseppe can see each other and Gold can be like, I know who your dad is. Gold finally agrees to give Emma a nudge in the right direction as far as like the curse breaking goes. Emma goes to Gold and is like, I need you to help me get Henry away from Regina. But Gold refuses because he's like, are you insane? You want to go after the mayor? That's a terrible idea. Everybody that does that gets in trouble. I will not be getting involved. No, ma'am. Which sends Emma running after August, and she asks him to help her see the bigger picture. David sees Regina broken down in town, and she's got all these groceries in her car, so he's like, let me give you a lift. I'll drive you home. Once they get there, she tricks him into staying for dinner because she's like, I'm so sad and lonely, and Henry's out for the night, and everybody's mad at me. And because he's literally a golden retriever in skin form, he stays with her. After agreeing to make the wardrobe, Giuseppe learns that the plan is to send pregnant Snow White and Charming through to the other side so that they can raise Emma, and when the time comes, bring her back to save everybody. Giuseppe is like, what's gonna happen to Pinocchio when the curse strikes? And the Blue Fairy's like, unfortunately, I do not know. He may turn back into a doll. It would only be for 28 years though, and he'll be fine and we can turn him back into a human later. So Giuseppe is like, on second thought, if you want me to make this wardrobe, my requirement is that Pinocchio goes through. Jiminy's very upset and they argue, but Giuseppe is like, my little cricket friend, you killed my parents, okay? Your debt to me will never be paid. Be quiet. So the Blue Fairy agrees to the lie because it's the only way to get Giuseppe to make the wardrobe and then save everybody in the end. Back in town, August takes Emma on his bike finally, and they ride out of Storybrooke together. So David has a weird dinner with Regina. I hate it. She tells him the story of how she found him, which is a lie, but she says that basically she was driving one night and she had this weird pull to go down a certain street, and then she found him freezing in the snow, and if she'd found him 10 minutes later, he would have died. So it's like something wanted her to find him. She goes to kiss him, and he pulls away and he's like, whoa, you read the room wrong, ma'am. Nope, not into you like that. Not gonna be doing that in the kitchen. Absolutely not. If he'd kissed her in this moment, I would have stopped watching the show. I said what I said. Back in the flashback, when Snow started to have Emma early, the Blue Fairy went to Giuseppe and was like, broski, the plan about Pinocchio is off, okay? Snow has to go through with Emma because Emma must be raised by one of her parents or it's not gonna work out. Obviously though, Giuseppe didn't listen, so he sent Pinocchio through anyway. Pinocchio didn't want to lie because that's not something he's supposed to do, but he promised to look after Emma once Emma came through too, so that was going to be like the way he made up for everything. August takes Emma to the place where she was found as a baby, and he tells her that he's the 7-year-old boy that found her. She thinks he's lying and that he must just be using the stories from the paper to like try to get closer to her, and that's really weird and he shouldn't be doing that. But he's like, no, you were wrapped in a baby blanket with your name embroidered on it. That wasn't in the paper, was it? He then takes her to the tree in the woods that was the portal that they came through together, and she's like, I simply cannot do this. You are insane. He chases after her to try to get her to listen, but then he collapses and she's like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? He pulls up his pants leg to show her that he's turning to wood, but it's just his skin. She can't see it. She's so deep in denial about who she is and the curse being real that she has like blocked out everything and she can't even see the magic around her. She's terrified of so many people needing her and relying on her. She never asked for the responsibility and she doesn't want it. She says all she can handle is Henry, and she's still messing that up. He's like, girl, you're our only hope. You have to get it together. And she's like, I'm sorry, but you're all screwed. We get some flashbacks of Emma and August in their foster care system homes. They were miserable. Like, the people watching them were really bad. The older kids had stolen some money and they were gonna run away. August wants to take Emma, but they're like, dude, we can't take a baby with us on the road. Are you crazy? And August is heartbroken, but he's also a 7-year-old boy and he's scared and miserable, and the older kids are leaving, so he left Emma behind. In the present, August visits Giuseppe in his little workroom and he helps him with something that he's working on. It's like a clock situation because, you know, they're both tinkerers. They both know how to woodwork. August tells him that he's worried that his dad, when he does talk to him finally, isn't gonna forgive him because he broke his promise. But Giuseppe is like, I mean, dude, if you realized your mistake and you tried to fix it, that's all you can do. Even if you're late fixing it, at least you're trying. That's what matters. He says if he had a son, that would certainly be enough for him. August volunteers to be his assistant, and Giuseppe's like, yeah, you know what? I do need some help. I can't pay you though. And August is like, oh, I don't mind. I just want to be with you. stop. Emma calls Henry with a code red and she's like, I need to talk to you now. Meet me outside your house. He comes down and gets in the car with her and she's like, I need you to answer a very important question. Do you want to come live with me? Henry's like, yes, absolutely. And she's like, okay, put your seatbelt on. We're going now. Regina and Henry are having dinner together. The doorbell rings. It's Emma. She's like, oh, Henry invited me. Can I come in? And then suddenly all the townspeople appear behind her. They grab Regina. They tie her up to her apple tree that has been put into the center of the street downtown. The apples are rotting. They're turning black. They're oozing. It's disgusting. Regina is like, please, everybody. I just wanted to win for once. And then Emma cuts off her head. So it's a dream. And Regina wakes up and she runs into Henry's room and checks on him. She thinks he's in bed, but it's actually a pile of blankets because remember, Henry's being kidnapped by Emma right now. Henry doesn't want Emma to run because she's the hero and she's not supposed to run away from the fight. She's like, dude, I'm not anybody's hero, and keeps going. So he grabs the wheel, cuts it to the side. They almost wreck. And he's like, you have to get it together, Mom. You have to stay. Your family's here and they need you. We get a flashback of Charming. He's being taken before the evil king, you know, his fake dad, and he's going to be executed. Regina shows up and is like, actually, I'll pay you for him. I have bigger plans in store for the prince. In the present, Regina's apple tree really is dying. She takes one of the rotting apples to Gold and is like, why is this happening? They both agree that it's probably because the curse is weakening. Turns out, he kind of wants the curse to break, so that's why he's not stopping anything. She wants to make a new deal where she can get rid of Emma and keep the curse from breaking. She's like, I'll give you anything you want. And he's like, oh, sweetie, you don't have anything I want anymore. Emma comes home and tells Mary Margaret that she's not sure what to do anymore, but she definitely almost kidnapped Henry. And Mary Margaret's like, oh, and you thought that was a good idea for him? You thought that was the right thing to do? You're reverting, Emma. Okay, you're going back to the person you were when you first got here and you were terrible. You need to get it together and decide what's best for Henry. And Emma's like, what is best for Henry? Mary Margaret's like, oh, I don't know. You're his mother. Figure it out. Regina goes to see our boy Jefferson, telling him that she knows he's upset with her, but she's got a plan where they can both get everything they want. She goes to hand him a drink and he pulls a playing card out of his pocket and puts it inside. I guess to say, no, I don't want that. You can keep it. But then she brings out his hat and he's like, oh my God, you've had this the whole time. I hate you even more than I did 5 minutes ago. She wants him to take them back to the enchanted forest so that she can get something to stop Emma. He agrees, but in return, he wants her to give him a fresh start with his daughter. So he doesn't want to be sent back to the enchanted forest where they were poor. He wants to stay here, and he wants no memories of the past and all the years they spent apart. He just wants fresh start with all the money and wealth to give her everything she wants, like he's always wanted to do. Snow's little band of Regina haters break into the castle to get Charming back, and it gets shockingly violent, okay? The guards are getting gutted. There's people getting sliced in the throat. It's a lot. The freaking fairies even show up like a little swarm of angry, glowing bees, and they attack people. Henry goes to see August in the present, and August has to be like, dude, I'm so sorry. I failed you. I was not able to get Emma to believe. And look at this. And he shows him his leg. He's like, I'm turning into wood. I'm going to be useless to everybody very soon. But Henry's just thrilled because he can see that August is turning into wood. And he's like, dude, you're Pinocchio. I was right about the curse all along. And he's so excited. Emma and Archie are now talking about what to do to get Henry away from Regina, and Archie has to be like, girlie, you gotta be realistic. You do not have a case to get Henry away from her, okay? All things considered, Regina is a wonderful mother. She loves Henry, and she would never hurt him, even if she is crazy and hurting all the other people in town. He tells her that what they desperately need to do is stop fighting, because that would be best for Henry. In the flashback, Snow finds Charming down in the dungeons, but once she gets into his cell, it turns out he's in a magic mirror and he's really in Regina's castle. Regina then shows up in the mirror and is like, I want to call Parley. I want you to meet with me alone, unarmed. We're gonna handle this once and for all. And Snow agrees. Regina takes Jefferson to the crypt so that they can use the hat portal and go to the enchanted forest. She puts in several like magical objects that she has, but it's not enough. So she ends up giving up the ring, like the wedding ring from Daniel, because that has like true love on it. And she puts that in and that's enough and it works. But it cannot take them fully over. Like it can't take the two of them completely over there. He says though that he should be able to reach through and grab an object, but it would need to be small. She says that can be done since they're only looking for an apple. So in the flashbacks, Regina and Snow meet up at the stables and Regina takes her to Daniel's grave. Snow had no idea that Daniel died, okay? Because remember, Regina lied to her and said that she decided to change her mind and marry the king. No. Now she's like, yeah, my mom killed him because of you, you idiot child. Snow is like, dude, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Also, you did kill my dad though, so haven't we suffered enough? Can't we be even? And Regina says no and brings out the apple. It will put Snow into a coma where her body will stay eternally as it is right now when she eats it, but her dreams will be filled with all of her regrets for all of eternity. And the real kicker is that Snow has to eat it willingly. If she doesn't want to eat it and she eats it, it won't work. But if she doesn't say yes and accept the apple, Regina's gonna kill Charming. So Snow takes the apple, tells Regina, congratulations, you finally won, and then eats it and immediately passes out. Charming, locked in the cell in the castle, can feel that that's happening to her. And he starts screaming, what have you done to her? Where is she? What have you done to Snow? So Jefferson reaches through the hat portal and catches the apple as it falls out of Snow's hand. And Regina is like, excellent work, buddy. Now I just have to get Emma to eat it. So she makes a single apple turnover. It's this whole production of her making this apple turnover. Before she can call Emma to invite her over, Emma shows up. And Regina's like, my plan is working out perfectly. Emma says that the fighting between her and Regina needs to stop, and she wants to make a deal. Her plan is to leave town and give Regina what she wants. Okay, so Regina can keep Storybrooke. She can keep Henry there with her. But Emma is going to be allowed to visit whenever she wants, and she's going to be able to spend time with Henry. Regina agrees, and she's like, that is excellent. I'm so glad you're leaving. Take this apple turnover for the road, please. And Regina's like, oh my God, thank you. A peace offering, how delicious. In the flashbacks, Snow's friends find Snow just on the ground because Regina just left her there, and they realize that she sacrificed herself for them. Regina goes to Gold and she's like, I no longer need your help. I figured out how to get a sleeping curse into Storybrooke. And he's like, ooh, girl, all magic comes with a price. Don't forget that. She says, that's fine. You can pay it. And that's on karma, Miss Ma'am. You're about to get what's coming to you. So Henry goes over to Emma's house and finds her packing up to leave. He's like, Mom, what are you doing? You can't run. I already told you not to do that. This is just the low moment in the story before the hero realizes who they are and what they need to do. She starts to cry and she's begging him to stop believing in fairy tales and see the truth. And she's like, I'm gonna be back, but Regina is going to take care of you. I know that. I used my superpower. She was telling the truth. She does love you. He's like, yeah, Mom may care about me, but she wants you dead. And then he sees the apple turnover on the counter. When he realizes that it's apple, he's like, girl, it's poisoned. You cannot eat that. Emma doesn't believe him, so he takes it, and he's like, I hope this will make you believe, Mom. He takes a bite of it. Nothing happens. And she's like, okay, kid, are you ready? Can I continue packing now? And then he passes out. Because Regina is a liar, Charming is still set to be executed, okay? But he's a star. So while he's being dragged through the hallways, he like fakes exhaustion. And then when the guards pause to try to like help him and get him back on his feet, he just bodies all of them. Where did this version of Charming learn to fight? He is supposed to be a farmhand. And then Graham shows up and saves him. Emma rushes Henry to the hospital. And Dr. Whale is there, but he can't figure out what's wrong with him. The apple turnover was not poisoned by anything that the hospital could recognize. Dr. Whale is like, I don't know what's wrong. I can't figure it out. He's slipping away so quickly. It's like, and Emma goes, it's like magic, and then pulls out the storybook, holds it in her hands, and gets memory flashes, y'all, so she knows it's real. She believes. She has one of those moments, you know, like when Katniss goes up in the second Hunger Games and she's panicking because she just saw Cinna get killed, but then she's like, okay, I'm in the games, game face. That's what Emma does, okay? She's standing there, she's like, Henry's dying, Henry's dying, and she just becomes rage incarnate. Regina comes running in a panic, and Emma is like, oh, get wrecked. She grabs her, she throws her into a supply closet, and I'm talking, she throws her, she's slinging her around the room. She's screaming in her face that she knows Regina's the one that did it. Regina breaks down and admits that everything is true, and it was Emma she was trying to kill. She felt like as long as Emma was alive, Henry would never truly be hers, but now she doesn't even have any magic, so she can't save him. The magic in the real world is super unpredictable, and because Henry is just a human, they don't know how it's gonna affect him, and he will probably die. So the ladies are crying, okay? They've calmed down a little bit, and now they're not trying to kill each other anymore. Now they're just crying in the supply closet. Emma is like, we need to go to Gold for help, and Regina is like, in this world, he goes by Rumpelstiltskin. In the flashbacks, Graham has to tell Regina that Charming escaped, but he'll go after him and he's a hunter. He'll get him back. She says that that won't be necessary. And then she uses one of the magic mirrors to send Charming through like a little quick portal into, I think they're called like the Unending Woods or something. It's that stretch of land where she hides people she doesn't like. That's where she sent Hansel and Gretel that one time and their dad. Charming then runs into Rumple, and he offers to help Charming get out. And he also is like, I put a little spell on your mother's ring, and it will glow the closer you get to Snow White. David goes to Mary Margaret again, and he's like, I'm gonna go live in that apartment in Boston that Catherine was gonna use, unless you can give me a reason to stay in town. She can't give him one though. So she gets into her car crying and just leaves David sobbing in the street. Miss Ma'am, you go back and get your dog right now. He cannot be left alone for this long amount of time. Back in the forest, after a little sword fight where Rumple wins, Rumple shows Charming the bottle of true love potion that he made with Charming and Snow's hair. He tells him about how he loved Belle and had true love with her, but she died. He believes that true love is the most important form of magic and it must be protected at all costs. So he puts it in like a little golden egg safe box, and he's like, I need you to take this egg and I need you to put it in the belly of a beast so that it can remain safe. Back in the present, Regina and Emma rush over to see Rumple. He tells them that true love is the only magic strong enough. Turns out he put a single drop of true love onto the parchment that he wrote the curse on as like a little fail-safe in case anything went wrong. That made Emma the savior because she's the child of Charming and Snow White, and she's the product of true love. Ah, is it going? Is it making sense? Only Emma can find the rest of the true love potion and use it to save Henry because she's the bio mom. I don't love that. Okay, Regina's also his mother, but it's the genetics that are making this quest possible. Rumple turns to Regina and goes, is our friend still in the basement? And then he gives Emma Charming's sword and says, you're gonna need this. Emma says goodbye to Henry in the hospital and tells him that she's gonna do everything she can to save him. Then Regina talks to him and apologizes. Jefferson pops up and is like, oh, this is so sad. Doesn't it just suck to have your child taken away from you? Now give me what you promised. I want a new life for me and my daughter. She refuses because Emma's not the one that ate the apple, and she's like, our plan didn't work. The deal is off. I will not be giving you anything. He's so upset. And also more than a little crazy. I wouldn't be taunting him. I don't think that's the best idea. Emma goes to see August because she wants his help. She's banging on the door, but he says he can't open it, so she breaks it down and finds him in bed, turning to wood, like it's all the way up to his throat now. She can see it though. So now she's like, oh my God, dude, I'm gonna break the curse, I promise. He reminds her that she's not a normal woman, okay? She is the product of true love. She was supposed to be from the Enchanted Forest. This is her life, and she's strong enough to save Henry. And then he turns fully to wood and loses his voice. It's awful. But Emma puts her game face back on, and she rushes over to the library to help Regina. In the library, there's this secret like steampunk elevator. Emma has to go down alone because somebody has to be operating it for it to work and go up and down. This elevator will become one of the most heartbreaking, awful locations on the entire show in a couple seasons. That's all I'm gonna tell you for now. But if you know, you know. Turns out the friend in the basement is a she. And no one has told Emma what form she's gonna be in when she gets down there. I love that. I love that we all know what Emma's gonna be facing, but no one is telling her. In this moment, Emma also tells Regina that if Henry dies, Emma will kill her herself with her bare hands. We get a flashback of Charming running into Maleficent's castle and being like, where's the beast that guards this castle? Where is it? Show it to me. And then she turns into a dragon. Yes. So Emma goes down into the tunnels connected to the mines under the town. She sees Snow's coffin, and then she comes face to face with a giant fire-breathing dragon. It's just been living under the town. So this scene with Emma fighting the dragon is split with Charming fighting the dragon. It's very cute, very father-daughter of them. Except Emma is like, I don't need the sword, and she pulls out her gun and starts shooting the dragon with it. Charming climbed up on the dragon's neck and then shoved the egg like through these weird gills that she has. It worked though, so the egg's inside Maleficent. Then Charming broke a window in the main hall and jumped way too high down into a lake below, but he survived. Emma is reading the story of Snow White and Charming to Henry, specifically the ending where Charming kissed Snow and she woke up. She tells him that she's so sorry that life doesn't always have a happy ending, and that's why she gave him the book, because she wanted to remind him that there was good in the world, but now this is happening and it's terrible. And then his machines start to beep and he starts to code. We see someone in this chaos sneak into that weird downstairs hallway where there's like all the secret people being kept below the hospital. The person knocks out the nurse that sits at the little desk down there. Surprise, it's Jefferson. He breaks Belle out of her cell and tells her to go find Mr. Gold and tell him that Regina locked her up. Charming swims across that giant lake that he jumped into, gets to Rumple, and collects his ring so that he can find Snow White. Rumple gives Charming a little costume change, and he's like, now you're ready for your big moment, dude. Go get your girl. Charming's like, why exactly are you helping me with this? And Rumple goes, oh, I guess you could say I'm just a fan of true love and what it creates. He's talking about the baby. Ugh. Emma is still shooting at the dragon even though it's not working, so she finally goes back for the sword and then just launches it at Maleficent's chest. The dragon explodes and Emma gets the egg. Charming gets to Snow in the flashbacks. He kisses her, she wakes up, they go walking on the beach together. He tells her that he'll always find her and he loves her. Then he drops down on one knee and proposes. She goes, what do you think my answer is? Of course it's a yes, and they kiss. It's adorable. Then they make a plan to take back the kingdom together. Over in the present though, Charming is about to drive out of town. And if he drives over that town line, he will forget everything about himself and who he is and lose all of his memories. Emma gets stuck in the elevator on her way up, and she calls up and is like, Regina, what's wrong? What are you doing? We have to hurry. Rumple looks down and he's like, dude, Regina left you. Throw the egg up to me quickly, okay? I'll go start what we need to do and keep it safe. She tosses up the magic egg and then climbs her way out and finds Regina tied up in a chair. Rumple lied. Then they get a call from the hospital before they can go running after Rumple, and they have to rush to go see Henry because it's not good. At the hospital, Mother Superior is there. Dr. Will says, ladies, I'm so sorry. We did everything we could, but he's gone. You're too late. Henry is dead. Gold has the egg back in his little shop, and he opens it to get the potion out. It's beautiful. It's like this purple, red, sparkly thing. Lovely. I love the way magic looks in this show. But then Belle comes in, and she's like, hi, I was told to find Mr. Gold and tell him that Regina locked me up. But she doesn't know why, or who he is, or what's going on. He goes to her and touches her shoulders, shocked that she's alive, because remember, Regina told him all those years ago that Belle died, and he believed her. She says that she was told that Mr. Gold would protect her, and he's like, of course I will, of course I'll protect you. And he hugs her, and he's so happy, he's crying. Emma, at the hospital, is sobbing. She stumbles over to Henry. She brushes back his hair. She whispers that she loves him, and then she kisses him on the forehead. A blast of magic shoots out of him, and he wakes up and goes, "Hey mom, I love you too." Regina is so pleased. She's like, "Oh my God, you did it, thank God." But Emma didn't just wake Henry up, she broke the damn curse. So the magic just sweeps the whole town, and everybody starts waking up and remembering, including David, who was like this close to crossing the border out of town. Regina realizes the curse is broken and panics. She tells Henry that no matter what he thinks or what anybody tells him, she loves him. And then she has to run and hide because the town is absolutely going to come after her. David comes rushing back to town and he sees Mary Margaret, but he yells out "Snow" across the street. She turns and whispers "Charming," and they run to each other and like hug. She says, "You found me." He says, "Did you ever doubt I would?" Regina goes home to the house and cries in Henry's room holding his pillow. In the woods, Rumple doesn't notice that the curse has been broken, but Belle does, and she's like, "Hold on, you're Rumpelstiltskin, I'm Belle, I love you." He turns around and is like, "Oh girl, I love you too." He tells her there's still one more thing they have to do and takes her over to the magic well. He drops the true love potion into the water and says that the waters are spelled so that they return what was lost. Purple mist comes rolling out of the well and just coats the forest floor. Everyone is slowly realizing what happened to them at the hospital. Emma and Henry are talking and they're kind of confused because nobody went back, and they thought that was what was going to happen when the curse broke, but instead everybody's just still in Maine, but they know they're supposed to be in the Enchanted Forest. Then they see the purple mist rolling into town, and Henry is like, "Oh my God, I don't know what that is, but it's something bad." Rumple tells Belle that he's bringing magic back to Storybrooke because magic is power. Regina, standing in the window of Henry's room, sees it coming, knows what it is, and she's just grinning to herself because she's about to be the evil queen again. Snow and Charming grab each other and like hide in each other's shoulders while the mist overtakes them. We pan up to the clock tower. It ticks again, and that is the end of season 1 of Once Upon a Time. That's gonna do it for today's bedtime story. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like the video and comment down below. As I've said a million times, I really do love talking to you guys each week. If you're so inclined to share the video or the channel around with your friends, I would so appreciate it. As I said, I'm hoping the channel just continues to grow this year, and I'm really excited to see where we go as a community. I hope you guys are so excited for the new year. Let me know down below if you've got any resolutions. I'm actually not making any this year. I'm going into 2024 just ready to have the year unfold. There's some things that like I want to do, but I'm not making any hard plans. I just don't want to do that to myself this year. It's been kind of a crazy couple years. 2023 especially was a weird year. And I'm ready to just move forward, seeing what happens. As always, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all so soon. Have a good one. Bye!